Samadhi. Samadhi, Sanskrit, literally means putting together, joining, combining with, union, harmonious, whole, trance. Samadhi is oneness with the subject of meditation. There is no distinction during the eighth limb of yoga between the actor of meditation, the act of meditation, and the subject of meditation. Samadhi is that spiritual state when one's mind is so absorbed in whether it's contemplating or not that the mind loses the sense of its own identity. The thinker, the thought process, and the thought fuse with the subject of thought. There is only oneness, Samadhi. There are many benchmarks that yogis have come up with on this journey of life. Don't get caught up in them. Remember, this is not a competition. This is not a race. Be like the Tao. The Tao is meek, simple, and humble, yet is the power behind all life. You may meditate for 1,000,000,000 years, yet you have just taken your first step. Every step is brand new. You will never know how far you have gone. Common benchmarks are probably, are you kind in each and every moment? Does your mind still get bitten by mosquitoes of unharmonious thoughts? Are you living in me or we consciousness? Are you conscious and aware of each moment of the power that is keeping you alive? Can you smile at any obstacle? Does politics affect your state of mind? Are you trying to fit into society? Can you walk into the shoes of others and have compassion? Do you still want to prove your point? Can you truly listen without thinking, what am I going to say next? These are practical benchmarks you may have in an incredible experience. Yet how you treat others and life itself is the true benchmark of life. Personally, one who brags about his experience goes down a couple of rungs on the ladder of life. That is not to say you can never talk about your experience. If it will help inspire someone, that's a good thing. For example, Brahmanam's poem of the palace in the sky. I heard that in India 48 years ago, and the bell of wisdom is still ringing in my ears. Words can't describe how it affected me back then and today.
The jeweler and the thief. Well, let's continue with this incredible story. The dragons, when they first saw the youngsters entering the cave many moons ago, weren't interested in the slightest to training man. You see, man was one of their major troubles. There's even a dragon slayer profession in the British Isles. Yet, at that same time, they could see the potential in these youngsters. As a matter of fact, they were more evolved than them when they were young. Back then, the dragons didn't even have a glimmer of light. So, they had an internal discussion amongst themselves. Do you think they can train this? Do you think they can change? You see, even in China and Tibet, war ruled the land. And anger was the norm. Mind you, these youngsters had a combination of light and darkness. They could see both sides of the coin. So the dragons decided to train them. Now their training wasn't like today. Today, children in school are bored. They are taught to use just memory. They are taught to remember facts. They are not taught to use your mind and think. The dragons are experts in this field. They are the master wizards of Hogwarts today. In fact, they are thousands of years ahead in development. Hogwarts teachers would be in nursery school. The dragons would have an advanced PhD studies in the universe. They were off the charts. The dragons had a unique style of teaching. You could say it was revolutionary today. They taught by using games, play, and fireside chats. The first game they taught was hide and seek. This was a very practical game. They had a series of talks about the universe. They were taught that the universe existed inside of them. Well, to be frank, that was completely over their heads. They couldn't even understand one word. So the dragons played a game of hide and seek. The dragons would hide. The youngsters closed their eyes and counted to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Ready or not, here we come. They would open their eyes, and all the dragons were gone. The dragons had rules they couldn't teach the kids. All the kids were completely shocked when they opened their eyes. All the dragons disappeared. They all crashed in surprise. As you know, dragons are quite large. They weigh thousands of pounds. This game went on for around 6 months or so. Finally, at one fireside chat, the dragons told this practical story. Imagine 2 young men walking down the road. They were headed to a town 5 days from their current destination. One of their men was a jeweler. The other man was a thief. The thief knew this man had a very precious jewel that he was carrying. As I said, both of them were going to the same town. They decided to travel together. They had a long journey ahead of them. Hours passed. They were quite tired and exhausted. Fortunately, there was a simple inn ahead of them. They both decided to spend the night there and share a room together. Both of them decided to have dinner together. The jeweler went first, and a few minutes later, the thief joined them. While the jeweler was holding a table for them, the thief was looking all over for the precious jewel. He was quite dumbfounded. He was the greatest thief in the land. They had dinner and went to bed immediately. They weren't in the mood to drink the ale and party into the night. Well, guess what? This went on for several days. Finally, they reached their destination. By then, the thief was totally confused. He thought, this is going to be an easy steal. He said to the jeweler, I'm a thief. As a matter of fact, I'm a king of the thieves. I knew you were carrying a precious jewel. Every night, I knew you hid. Every night, I knew you carried a precious jewel. I knew you hid the jewel inside of the room. Every night, I would search all over for it. I got quite frustrated when I couldn't find it. Where did you put it? I'm dying for an answer. I knew you were a thief. I knew you wanted to steal the jewel. Every night I would hide it in a place you would never look. The thief said, and where is that? The jeweler said, under your own pillow. The thief knew he was outwitted and outsmarted. Well, the kids loved this story. They were well acquainted with thieves and jewelers. They went through their towns quite frequently. The dragon said, let's play a game of hide and seek again. This time, focus on your breath. Close your eyes. To their amazement, the dragons appeared inside of them. They couldn't believe it. How could all the dragons appear to them inside of their being? This was the starting point of their incredible adventures. Now, when they played hide and seek, they knew where to look. A single but necessary step took place. They knew it was both an inward and outward journey. The youngsters were thrilled. Each time they played the game, the youngsters knew where to look. They loved to play this game. All the first-time students had to go through the same baby steps that others went through. You see, this path is 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards. You learn from your progress and your mistakes. Never give up. Planting the seeds. The dragons have a master plan. They know you need a solid foundation to build one. Baby steps are needed on this journey. At first, the youngsters had to learn how to focus inside, meditate. If they didn't learn that at even a simple level, the youngsters would pay all attention to the outside world. This is why they had to play hide and seek over and over again until it became a habit. It became second nature. They learned over time that God and the universe exists within. One another game the dragons used was peekaboo. The dragons had their own style to this game. Children would close their eyes and say, peekaboo! And the dragons would instantaneously be appearing inside of them. The children would laugh so hard each time they did this. They never got tired of it. Even when they got older, they still got a big kick out of this game. This taught the child that the dragon world exists within. You are never alone. This helped the child in daily life. You see, their life was rough. Most of them never had the opportunity to go to school. Even at a young age, they had to work in the fields. It was tough and demanding. The dragons understood the laws of the universe. They understood that the kids learned that if you plant a seed in the ground, there's a process. A seed doesn't grow overnight. The crop must be tended to. You must pull your weeds. If you don't, the weeds will overtake your precious crop. You had to toil the soil and water it. It took a tremendous amount of energy. Well, the kids had no problem understanding those principles. The dragons then explained, you have an inner garden that must be attended to. You must pull your inner weeds of anger, war, greed, hate, and intolerance. You must learn how to pull the weeds of bond. You see, this was a major problem in China and Tibet. It still is rampant in the West. The dragons were probably the best psychologists in the world. They understood the mind to such a great extent. They truly knew the ways to develop a healthy and positive mind. They understood that the universe is kind, the universe is patient, the universe is love and compassion, the universe is tolerant. You see, you are the universe, you just don't know it. The youngsters never heard of such a thing. They're only used to see war, bickering, and anger. Sure, at times they experience a little happiness, but they never knew that they could change their emotional state. They didn't have to be angry to bully other people around. The kids learn how to truly transform themselves. The dragons taught them how to hesitate before they speak. They taught them to be conscious of what they spoke. They were taught, if something is negative, don't say it. They understood it was placing more wood on the fire. The dragons knew about bullying. Remember, they were bullied all throughout their lives. Remember, that was one reason they left. There was this little innocent girl named Pima. Pima's name means lotus. She was like a lotus, very pure. Because she was pure and innocent, the boys loved to taunt her and bully her. She constantly had to endure this. The dragons were quite aware of her pain. Anyway, to make a long story short, they came up with a master plan. The next time the boys tried to bully her, the dragons would come to her rescue and roar. I mean, roar. It could be heard all over the valley. The bullies would run away in fear. Pima was so kind in nature, she would console the bullies and they would become best of friends. One by one, the bullies were transformed. They became students with the dragons and were transformed. It's kind of funny that modern day psychologists didn't embrace positive mental health until the 1980s. They only taught about the ailments of the mind. The East has been teaching and learning for thousands of years. There was even a rumor that Buddha learned from the dragons. He got his learning from the inner dimension. Buddha was considered the first psychologist of his time. He understood the mechanics of the mind, which is still in play today. Stop the noise in your head. As the children began to learn how to meditate, they saw how powerful the mind is. They never noticed that before. They asked the dragon how to stop the noise in my head. Of course, all the dragons laughed. They laughed because everyone goes through this. You see, the mind is the most difficult thing to control in the universe. The majority of man reacts to every situation. Man is reacting. The wise man learns to be proactive. They understand the basic law. It's my will alone. I set my mind in motion. Now, that's very easy to say, but hard to do. All people who learn how to meditate in the beginning have this problem. In the East, they call it monkey mind. The monkey goes from one branch to another. It can't be controlled. Well, when they first started to learn how to meditate, they clearly saw this from first-hand experience. The dragons told a wonderful story each time the subject was brought up. They told a story where a man saves a genie. Nobody knows exactly how this man saved him. Well, the genie told this man, you can have as many wishes as you want. The man said, wow, that's incredible. I love that idea. The genie said, well, there's a catch. The man said, what's that? You must always give one wish after another. If you don't, I will chop your head off with a sword. Are you sure you want to continue with this? The man hesitates for a moment and says, reluctant, sure. Well, the genie said, what's your first wish? The man gives one wish after another. It seems like when one wish is granted, he has to give another. He didn't even have one opportunity to enjoy, even for a second, the previous wish. He was getting tired and couldn't even go to sleep. The genie was always harassing him and saying, what's your next wish? Well, fortunately, there was a wise man nearby. He went to the wise man and sincerely asked for help. This boon was turning into a curse. The wise man whispered into his ear, well, the genie demanded another wish, or he would chop off his head. The young man said, go to the forest and find a huge log. Your wish is my command. In a second he returned with the huge log. The genie said with a smile, give me a wish, I will chop off your head. As you can see, the genie wasn't particularly nice. So the young man told the genie to go up and down the pole. When I need you, I will give you another command. The young man could relax and enjoy all the wishes he gave to the genie. The genie knew he was outsmarted by this wise man. The young boy enjoyed his life and helped others in the community. He eventually learned about the dragons and helped tremendously his fellow man. The dragons said that the genie is the mind. The mind wants to control you versus the other way around. By placing your mind on your breath, the genie will go up and down the log and set you free. Meditation is the key to bring awareness to your mind. The mind is either your friend or foe. Everyone in the universe has to learn how to control the mind. The frog in the well. You are the universe. You just don't know it. This is the central theme of the dragons. They reached the growth of awareness where they became the sun, moon, and stars, and were walking around in dragon bodies. They realized they were eternal. They were beyond time and space. The dragons also knew that humans had the same capability. They were curious about that. The dragons knew that man came from the stars. They were stardust. Yet the village around them, and Tibet and China at that time, had no idea of who they truly are. The dragons were once in the same state of awareness as the humans. They were angry, hateful, worried, and full of greed. Yet over time, they realized their potential. They needed a story that could reflect how large they felt, yet how small in reality they lived in. So, there goes the story. Once upon a time, a frog lived in a well. This frog thought he was a know-it-all. This frog thought the water in my well is the largest in the world. This was in fact quite a large well. The villagers used it for the community. Anyway, this frog bragged a lot and told all the people who were strangers to the well how vast the water is in the well. One day, a stranger came who lived near the ocean. The frog came up to the stranger and said, "The water in my well is far grander than any water in the well in the world." The stranger said, "Well, according to my experience, the water in your well is probably one of the smallest I've ever seen." Well, a fight ensued with the war of words. It was going out of control. Both sides were putting wood on the fire. Finally, they both calmed down. All the villagers came and wondered what was going on. It was quite the scene. Well, the villagers and frogs said to the man, "Can you prove it? Can you show us a place where water is larger than our well?" So to make a long story short, a small group of villagers and the frog traveled to the ocean. They couldn't believe what they saw. An endless body of water everywhere. They were dumbfounded. Never in their world did they see such a precious sight. The stranger laughed and said, "Now, this is a large body of water." The villagers and frogs couldn't agree more. Their well wasn't even a drop of water compared to the ocean. The dragons told this story to the youngsters. They reminded the kids of playing hide and seek and peekaboo. The dragons would appear to them inside. Well, the dragon said, "This is the frog in the well. This is the starting point in your incredible journey of life. Inside of you lies the infinite ocean of love. You have the potential to tap into this. In fact, you are this ocean. This is your true nature. You should see how wide open were the eyes opened from the children. They were completely mesmerized by this story. They weren't just some mumble-jumble words. The dragons were talking about their own personal experience. They were telling the kids that you could ultimately have the same experience. It's a moment-by-moment conscious journey. Baby steps are taken along the way. Signposts are all around. Can you imagine signposts all around? But do we have eyes to see? Nature is alive and communicating with each other. But we have cell phones in our hands. Magic is all around us, but we can't see it. Imagine the mysteries of life are all around us, but we don't see them. This is the journey of walking from darkness to light. We think we have all the answers, yet we are living in darkness. If we think we are living in the light, then why have we been fighting for thousands of years? Why do we have guns and violence? Why do we have 45 billionaires who have more money than half the population? This is a journey we are walking on. Kids, you have a say in this matter. The torch someday will be passed to you. Someday you will lead the way. Take a look at the sun in the sky. It just shines. It has nothing to prove. Its rays keep the entire earth alive. Now, that's true magic. It's not a sleight of hand. It's not some magic tricks that appear real, but it's not. It's the real deal. Every step you take over time, you can start to see the signposts are all around. You begin to see the majesty of the geese and ducks flying into the air. You will love to hear the geese honking in the sky. It will bring a chill down your back. You'll begin to learn to sit on a park bench and totally take in the beauty that surrounds you. You can close your eyes and tap into the beauty of nature. Nature is alive. How about not getting bored? You don't need to have your cell phone with you 24 hours a day. Yes, you can still have your cell phone, but it will be different. Imagine looking into your friend's eyes and seeing yourself. Whoever you may encounter, you see a reflection of yourself. How can you harm anyone in that state? There will be no more flaming posts on the internet. No more bullying. No more sexual harassment. This would be a thing of the past. How about no more school shootings? No more wars? No more guns and violence? No more crime? If you think this can't happen, then think again. Your civilization is only 50,000 years old. There are worlds out there that have existed before the universe was born. They had to take small baby steps along the way. Ultimately, some succeeded, and they could go out and help others on this journey of life. Help is on the way, yet you have to ask for it. You see, you have free will. That's the law of the universe. The universe is playing a hide-and-seek game with you. This is the game of life. This is the greatest game ever played. It will go on for eternity. So you are a piece of the puzzle. Your piece is super important. Imagine having billions of pieces of the puzzle put together. Yet there's a missing piece. It's yours. Will the puzzle be complete? Now one is missing, and it's yours. You can begin to learn how to be a global citizen of the universe. You can learn how to be kind. You can learn how to have love and compassion for your fellow man. You can learn how to have patience and tolerance. You will once again discover the laws of the universe exist inside of you. You will start pulling all the negative weeds from your garden inside. You can do this. Yours isn't the first one, nor are you the last one to walk from darkness to light. You see, you aren't alone. How would you like to feel that there's a great coach inside of you? You can actually feel it. It's so familiar. It's a part of you. How about a part of you that's already the universe, and a part of you lives in this world? You have the potential to realize this on a daily basis. In the early 1950s, Roger Bannister ran a sub-4 minute mile. Nobody thought it was possible. Months later, the barrier was broken, and even some high schoolers did this. You have the same potential. There is a precious jewel that lies within you. Millions of people are waking up from their slumber. Signpost is all around. Just open up your eyes. The story continues. Fellow wizard's advice. This is a story within a story. We all love Harry Potter. Harry was a simple boy, but he was an incredible wizard. Somehow, he knew how to go inside and tap into the miracles of the pig. But did you know you have the same capabilities? Not turning a stone into a pig, but you can transform yourself from darkness into light. You are a mixture of the two. You can consciously, day by day, become more aware. This story begins in the 4th grade. One day, Ricky, a young boy, wakes up, and he is so excited to be alive, yet his mind is at peace. He has never felt anything quite like this before. For some reason, he is consciously aware of the rhythm of his breath. His breath goes up and down. For some unknown reason, he begins to follow his breath moment by moment. He is astonished by what is happening. The more he is aware of the breath, he notices that something behind his breath is keeping him alive. Over time, he realizes that the entire universe is alive. When he places his mind upon the breath, he feels such a bliss, such a love and compassion for all. He tells his twin brother John about this, and he begins to do the same thing. Over time, he experiences the same unity behind his breath. Mind you, this is the 1950s. It would be considered very odd back then, and probably odd now. Yet, it was simple. No religion or dogma. It's just you are focusing on your breath. You could call it meditation, but people have such weird connotations for the word meditation. For now, this is called focusing and going inward. A few of their friends notices the changes in them. Both twins are sort of reluctant to tell them what has happened. Some of them wanted to know more, while the majority could care less. For those who stuck with it, they noticed the mind is a very powerful thing. You can't quite control it. It is said the mind is the most powerful thing in the universe to control. But over time, by focusing on your breath, the mind slowly gets tamed. It's like taming a dragon that's inside of you. Over time, the dragon becomes your closest friend. Before you ever started focusing on your breath, you had no idea on how powerful the mind is. Slowly, I mean slowly, one discovers that they came from the stars. All these children knew that they were stardust. You can't quite pinpoint it, but their intuition was coming alive. These children knew that the universe was kind. The universe was full of love and compassion. The universe was patient and tolerant. You see, behind your breath lies the precious jewel of the universe. They also learned how to weed and garden within. Somehow, by focusing on their breath, they realized they had negative weeds inside of them. Yet they knew they could pull these negative weeds and plant seeds of goodness. These seeds are the universal laws that created the universe and all of creation. Laws like kindness, happiness, compassion, patience, and on and on and on. These precious laws are a natural state of being. Mankind wears tinted glasses. You can't see the signpost that is all around. Now listen carefully for all the children who have gathered around the campfire. You are the universe. You just don't know it. But you can. With your free will, you can make a conscious decision to discover the jewel within. The kicker is that you can do it and be like the sun and just shine. You don't have to convince or prove it to anybody. Anybody can watch their breath. Yes, it takes practice. It took me about a month to ride a bicycle. My brother just got on one and rode away into the night. Everything you learn took practice. Even learning how to crawl and taking your first steps. There was a learning curve. I know it sounds so simple. It is. This is the greatest hide-and-seek game ever. The universe hides inside of you. Yet you've been told to look outside, not inside of yourself. For thousands of years, man has been looking outside, and what has it accomplished? War and tragedy on earth. If each one of you would put effort into discovering your true nature, this world would change. You see, heaven on earth begins with you. You are the key player. You have an incredible part in the play of life. You are the main character. Your incredible journey is to go from darkness into light. You are the Harry Potters of today. Inside of you lies the great mystery school. The universe is a grand teacher. The more you're in harmony with it, the more wisdom comes your way. You see, darkness can never know the light. Darkness is the absence of light. Go into a dark room, flip the switch, the light appears while the darkness disappears. Darkness and light can't be together. Your true nature is the light. Darkness has been on this land for ever so long. Yet the dawning of man has come. There's a glorious sunrise taking place. Millions of people are waking up from their slumber. These are simple tools to use. Remember, if your words are going to put gasoline on the fire, don't say it. Our president needs to hear this. Hesitate for just a second before speaking. If you do, over time, you will master what comes out of your mouth. Words of kindness, compassion, patience, and tolerance will be your spoken word. It's not easy, but you can do it. You are a grand wizard, yet you need practice. These are simple guidelines you can take. We are all in the same boat on this journey of life. We either sink or swim together. Ari would be proud if this message of mastering yourself became the norm. He got bullied a lot, yet didn't take revenge. He was innocent and had a heart of gold. He had nothing to prove. Take this to heart. You are incredible. You have infinite talents. You are eternal. You will never die. Your body will, yet your soul will live forever. You will discover your true nature. How would you like to be like the sun, the moon, and the stars, and still be walking around in a human body? You would just laugh and love life. You would be like the sun. You would simply shine. In that state, you have nothing to prove or convince anybody. Little Ricky loved ethnic foods. He was brought up since he was born to eat ethnic foods. He absolutely loved them. Yet, he never knew how to cook them. One day in high school, he enrolled in a cooking class. He wanted to learn how to cook. To his amazement, he learned that there was cooking recipes that you can follow to make each dish. A recipe usually has a list of ingredients along with the actual step-by-steps needed to make the dish. He was so excited. From that precious course, he learned hundreds of recipes throughout the years. He took the same concept to his own personal life. He learned how to use spices like kindness and patience in his life. He would sprinkle these on his daily actions. He knew that life was an incredible adventure. He added these precious spices to his everyday affairs. Ponder this over. What spices can you use to enhance your life? Kindness, tolerance, patience, love, and compassion. These are incredible spices that the world loves. Learn how to avoid the spice of anger, being a bully, and fighting. These never are good in the end. They are old habits from the past.
When I was young, I heard a story about 3 blind men touching an elephant. Each man touched a different part of the elephant. One touched the elephant's ear, another touched his feet, while the last touched the tusk. They began to discuss their experience and a huge fight began. I'm right and you're wrong. I know all the answers. You're a fool to believe in that. What a child you are. Yet they all had their own individual experience. It was a piece of the puzzle. Not the puzzle itself, but a piece. Are we like the blind man touching the elephant? My religion is better than your religion. I'm going to heaven while you're going to hell. I'm going to declare war on you. I'm going to convert you. Religion has a piece of the puzzle. It is not the puzzle itself. Each religion is different and unique. The essence is the same. Which part of the elephant did you touch? Maybe it's about time to be open to something new. Your enemy is talking about the same thing you are. He just has a different piece, a different point of view. In the end, the essence is the same.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest one of all? What if we had an actual mirror that exists inside of us? Wouldn't that be an incredible fairy tale? Now, what if I told you that you are the universe? You just don't know it. How's that for a fairy tale? You see, your mirror is dusty. Throughout your life, nobody told you that this mirror exists inside of you. Well, let the fairy tale begin. You can start learning how to clean your precious mirror. You can start by being kind in each and every moment. The more you are kind, the more you will clean your mirror. Learn how to meditate and enjoy the silence inside of you. At first, you may get bored, but the more you practice, the more you are clearing your mirror. Remember, this is play, not work. Cleaning your mirror is like removing huge boulders that you carry around. They weigh you down. Each time you remove a boulder, you get lighter and lighter. You see, you are your own Prince Charming. You have the capability to remove all obstacles inside of you. Now that's a fairy tale. Ponder this over. You are the universe. You just don't know it. This is a beautiful fable by Hans Christian Andersen. It's a beautiful summer day. The sun shines warmly on the old house near a river. Behind the house, a mother duck is sitting on 10 eggs to chick. One by one, all the eggs break open. All except one. This one is the biggest egg of all. Mother duck sits and sits on the big egg. At last it breaks open. The chick. Out jumps the last baby duck. It looks big and strong. It is gray and ugly. The next day, Mother duck takes all her little ducks to the water. She jumps into it. All her baby ducks jump in. The big ugly duckling jumps in too. They all swim and play together. The ugly duckling swims better than all the other ducklings. Quack, quack. Come with me to the farmyard, said Mother Duck to her baby ducks, and they all follow her there. The farmyard is very noisy. The poor duckling is so unhappy there. The hens pick him, the roosters flies at him, the ducks bite him, the farmer kicks him. At last, one day, he runs away. He comes to a river. He sees many beautiful big birds swimming there. Their feathers are so white, their necks so long, their wings so pretty. The little duckling looks and looks at them. He wants to be with them. He wants to stay and watch them. He knows they are swans. Oh, how he wants to be beautiful like them. Now it is winter. Everything is white with snow. The river is covered with ice. The ugly duckling is very cold and unhappy. Spring comes once again. The sun shines warmly. Everything is fresh and green. One morning, the ugly duckling sees the beautiful swans again. He knows them. He wants so much to swim with them in the river, but he is afraid of them. He wants to die. So he runs into the river. He looks into the water. There, in the water, he sees a beautiful swan. It is he. He is no more an ugly duckling. He is a beautiful white swan. We are all swans. We just don't have the eyes to see. Look inside of your heart. You will see your true nature. The wind and the sun were disputing which was stronger. Suddenly they saw a traveler coming down the road, and the sun said, "I see a way to decide our dispute. Whatever of us can cause the traveler to take off his cloak should be regarded as the stronger. You begin." So the sun retired behind a cloud, and the wind began to blow as hard as it could upon the traveler. But harder he blew, the more closely the traveler wrapped his cloak around him, till at last the wind had to give up in despair. Then the sun came out and shined in all its glory upon the traveler, who soon found it too hot to walk with his cloak on. Kindness affects more than severity. Once upon a time, a wise man was having a conversation with the sun. He told the sun that darkness did not like them. He felt that the sun ruined everything for him. Darkness loves to keep everyone in a state of ignorance. Darkness loves to see humanity bickering and fighting with one another. The sun just loved to shine and give love, kindness, and compassion to all. Well, the sun said to the wise man, "Bring darkness to me, and we can have a wonderful conversation." The wise man said, "I will bring him to you tomorrow." While the sun waited and waited. The next day, darkness never came. He waited for over a month. Darkness never showed up. You see, darkness is only the absence of light. The sun is always shining, so darkness can never appear. Discover the light inside of you. That is your true nature.
The following day, I packed up my bags and took a train to Brahmnagar. Maharaji's ashram is near Hardwar. It's a small town in the foothills of the Himalayas. The next 2 weeks I listened to discourses about this knowledge. Something inside of me knew that it was to receive the experience of a lifetime. I knew the door to my soul was to be opened. Words are hard to express the feeling that was going inside of my being. I knew that in a short time I'd be shown and would reveal the secret of life itself. I knew this experience was real. I told a lot of people who had the experience. I could tell and sense that something wonderful was going on. I liked the idea that the proof is in the pudding. I didn't want to join a cult or religious group. I just wanted a direct and continuous experience of the power that's keeping me alive. I knew through practice this could be achieved. During this time, the war between India and Pakistan was going on. Each night there were air raid sirens going on, and off in the distance we could hear bombs going off. There was a general blackout at night. Pakistani bombers were only miles away. Air raid sirens were heard in the distance. At that ashram, the whole place was so serene, while this part of the world, people were dying. Trains of Pakistanis were being massacred going from India to Pakistan, and trainloads of Indians were being massacred going from Pakistan into India. Such a dichotomy. I'll never forget my initiation. There were probably about 20 of us in a small room. Maharaji had initiators who revealed his knowledge. We were in the room while Maharaji was playing on top of the roof directly overhead of us. This experience that I had that day still sends shivers of joy, just merely the thought. The first technique the initiator revealed was the light technique. I always knew that the human being had the ability to see the light inside. This is an actual experience. When the initiator touched my forehead, I felt this incredible surge of energy. I knew at that point that something incredible was going to happen. My whole body and soul sensed it. My consciousness completely left this physical existence. A golden circle of light appeared. Inside of this circle, a brilliant blue star appeared. This golden circle of light and this blue star was so beautiful. It's probably the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. Waves of love, joy, and peace were surging inside my consciousness. All of a sudden, the star transferred into a ray, a tunnel of blue light which went on for infinity. I merged with the blue ray. It's very hard to describe this experience. I was at home. The doors were open. I was given the keys and it was up to me to cultivate that experience. I have definite proof that we are more than these bodies. All of a sudden, the mystery of life was revealed. I knew the secrets behind our religion. There was a genuine experience that could be shown and experienced. Years later, I realized that this experience was initiation into Lord Michael's Blue Ray. It was the Jacob's Ladder. This experience was the ladder to God. To this day, I'll never forget this experience. It gave me practical proof that God exists. I knew it, but this was a practical experience. It was more real than any outside human experience. I knew my life was on track. I waited years to go home. I was shown such a glorious place. When I returned to this body and regained physical consciousness, my whole body was shaking like a dot. My body had a hard time. Can you imagine being hooked up to the power plant of the whole universe? I knew no damage was done. Over time, I knew that the body was built and designed to handle these kinds of currents. Day by day, through meditation, man can slowly harmonize with these frequencies and begin to vibrate at this frequency. There were 3 other techniques that were revealed. One was the music technique. I was shown how to listen to the innermost frequencies of life. Since God is energy, man has the capability to be in tune and listen to subtle yet energy frequencies. Different religions have different concepts about this experience. By listening to this music over time, man is filled with such a joy and peace in his life. The mind slowly begins to slow down. In this state, man gets in contact with an energy frequency that is infinite. This energy is pure love and bliss. The whole universe is comprised of this energy. It was, is, and will always be. This is the Word of God. Every major religion talks about the Word in some form or another. This is a very simple technique where man can be in direct communication with the subtle energy. When a person first receives this initiation, the Word is very subtle. The majority of people really don't understand the power of this Word. I know a lot of people who took this experience and never really tried it out. Over time, I can consciously put myself in direct communication with this Word. My whole being is instantly filled with such a wave of love and bliss. I'm not there 24 hours a day, but I know it's possible. I have had experiences that I was completely taken out of this physical world and taken into a place where there's no time and space. The only thing existed was this incredible energy of love. I know I was at home with my Father. This energy exists throughout all creation. It exists in the manifest and unmanifest. It exists throughout time and space and beyond. All of creation came from this Word. In the Bible in St. John, the verse goes like this: in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. Human beings have the capability to tune into this experience. The last experience was one of the living waters or nectar experience. When man is in this experience, Powerful hormones and enzymes are secreted through the endocrine system. Through the ages, man has learned that he has a capability to actually experience this nectar or living water. Just one drop of this is an incredible, powerful experience. One drop has the capability to take man's consciousness into a definite altered state. This fluid is very cleansing to the body. When Christ was in the desert for 40 days and nights, he lived off this manna. This experience is energy in its subtle form. It is energy, yet it transmutes itself into matter. This experience is very powerful to the endocrine system. I've had numerous experiences of this nectar. It's probably the most intoxicating drug known in the universe. Unlike a drug which has side effects, this experience is completely beneficial to the body and soul. These experiences reveal over time who we truly are. We are more than our mind or body. We are in fact the source of life. Each one of us are part of this universal consciousness. We just don't remember it. It's amazing when we were born, we came from the source. Our whole body was this consciousness. Over time, we forgot. Years later, we have completely forgotten of our true existence. After the initiation, I thank my Creator for revealing Himself to me. My dreams come true. I had the tools. Everything made sense to me. I could read the scriptures and understand the hidden meaning. The scriptures were at the same wavelength. I had a lot of respect for the major religions. The following day, I was sitting by the Ganges meditating when I completely lost consciousness of this planet. I saw a light more brilliant than the noonday sun. My consciousness was flowing into a river of nectar. I felt the whole Ganges river was flowing through me. Maharaji had a beautiful poem by Rumi, a great Sufi teacher, that sums it up. It goes like this. There is a palace in the sky without any foundation. A blind man sees a light more brilliant than a million suns. A deaf man listens to the unstruck music. A lame man climbs up a well and drinks the nectar and becomes totally intoxicated. The clincher is only a wise man understands what I'm talking about. From then on, my life was to change drastically. After my initiation and this experience, my life was never the same. I was shown something so incredible that my focus was on this experience. My whole life from then on was based upon practically cultivating this experience. Day by day, I was going deeper and deeper into my existence. My days in India were spent in meditation and spending time with Maharaji. Meditation was such an incredible experience. I call it going to the movies. Day by day, I was going deeper and deeper into realms I'd never been before. Premnagar was such a beautiful place. I was thousands of miles away from home, and then again, I was truly at home. I was content and full of such an incredible bliss. My mind was learning to focus on something inside of me that never changes, that was and will always be. I was learning how to be connected to that experience 24 hours a day. I practiced meditation like how I surf with joy and the thrill of riding the waves of life. To this day, I'm still blown away that this experience is lying dormant inside of humanity, just waiting to be discovered. We are searching for the jewel, and the jewel is hidden inside of each one of us. Over time, it's not all bliss and roses with this experience. I had to face my mind. The mind is such a powerful thing. It can be your friend or enemy. I learned over time to become its friend. In the beginning, at times, I thought I would go crazy. The mind was constantly chattering. I would sit for hours, and at times I wanted to get up and just forget the whole thing. But then I would break through. Then that experience would rush in and completely saturate your being. You are bliss. I felt that I had to break down the door. Over time, I walked through the door, and my mind hasn't bothered me in this way since. I'm not saying my mind doesn't bother me. At times it does. But when I close my eyes or put my connection on this Word of God, my whole being is filled with bliss. In the beginning, it took tremendous effort to have this kind of experience. In the beginning, you meditate on the experience. Years later, that experience meditates on you. I remember that a few days before Christmas, the whole ashram took a train ride from Hardwar to Patna, a city in Bihar, India. Bihar is one of the far states in India. The scenery was beautiful. We were traveling on this old, funky Indian train. We could see swamps that were full of lotus flowers. Wildlife was everywhere. Raj was having a 3-day program. I remember at the festival there was probably 1 million people there. At one point in the festival, the Arya Samaj attacked the festival. I'm not sure how many people died. The group caused a lot of trouble in India. It was kind of scary to sit on stage watching fighting only a half mile away. India was quite a different place. The people were quite friendly. They liked Westerners. The Indian people in general had strong conviction for God. Before leaving to Bihar, my friend Peter left to go back to America. I loaned him the money, which I got back in South Africa. The Westerners left in January. There were only a few of us left. I spent my remaining time in Delhi. I remember I would meditate and go into town. The Indian food was great. I bumped into the son of James Arness. His father was a famous actor in Hollywood. He played in Gunsmoke on TV. He had a son, Ralph, at the time, who was a world champion surfer. It was quite funny meeting him. I was buying a kilo of cashews for $1. I just started talking to him. During this time, Maraji was planning to go to South Africa. He needed a few Westerners to go and help set up the necessary arrangement. Somehow, Maraji's mother asked me to go. So in early February, we embarked to Bombay. One early morning, I was meditating using Mafu's technique. I felt such joy and happiness. All of a sudden, I felt this incredible power. I saw this incredible cobra at my root chakra. This cobra was slowly rising up my spine. The energy was incredible. It was so real. I became a little afraid due to the power and the cobra. I knew I would not be harmed at all. I controlled my fear and let the experience grow. The cobra went all the way to my third eye, which is the pituitary gland. At each step of the way, I would have a different experience. I've always heard about the Kundalini experience, but this was the first time I had the experience to see it. The Vedas talk about this experience. The cobra was so real. It was like you had to face your greatest fears, and then and only then could you be taken to a different level of consciousness. It's amazing this experience exists inside of our own being, and yet it is dormant. We are so involved in this world that we simply are unaware of a greater reality. I learned that the scriptures of the past were based upon practical experience. We have simply convoluted the meaning of the experience and came up with a different meaning altogether.
Is this from a mystic or a scientist? Kabir, a mystic from the 15th century, said the following: all know that the drop merges into the ocean, but few know that the ocean merges into the drop. Now that is profound. A modern-day Einstein might have said that today. The entire universe exists inside of us. We are a part of the universe. Is this a paradox? We are beyond time and space. There are billions of universes. Inside of our DNA is a part that is not material. It is spiritual. No instrument known to man can detect this yet. Yet the mystics have said all along, you are hardwired for this experience. Ponder this message. The divine words from Kabir are alive. Curious means eager to know or learn something. I've been curious all my life. My mom and dad taught me the adventures that ethnic food at such a young age. It still continues today. That curious nature never goes away. In fact, it actually increases the more you get older. I remember that you can't rest on your laurels. In the 90s, I built a dome automation for the observatory on Maui. I didn't know C++ yet. I was extremely curious and knew I could pull this off. When I finished it, I thought they might give me a few days off. Nope, it was on a Friday. I was back to work on a Monday. It was a huge accomplishment. My curiosity was one thing that got me to learn how to meditate. I read books on the mystics and wanted to know what they were talking about. It seemed like a foreign language. So I persevered and was curious about this adventure. It was love at first sight. I had a knack for this. Yes, nobody gets a free ride, but I had a knack for this meditation. It came easy to me. I think we need to approach life like a curious child. Never lose that. If you do, plant the seed in your heart and water it daily. Your curiosity will grow. The definition of adventure is the following: engage in hazardous and exciting activity, especially the exploration of unknown territory. I remember as a kid, I took a yoga class. At that time, yoga was relatively unknown in America. Yoga was around during the late 1800s, yet the majority of the population thought it was on the fringe. It was definitely an unknown territory. This love for adventure took me all over the world. With a surfboard in my hand, a backpack on my back, and a yearning to discover my true nature, I was off. I had quite the adventure. I learned the greatest adventure lied inside. This is truly unknown territory. You can live anywhere and have a simple life, but by exploring your true nature is the adventure of a lifetime. Lock a person up and put them in solitary confinement and see what happens. The greatest adventure is to tame your mind. That is probably the most difficult thing to do. Mystics have been talking about this for thousands of years. Today, yoga is mainstream. Millions of people practice it. Maybe something is going on. We are slowly learning more about life.
In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word was made flesh. Now let's take a look at this with a rational mind. In the beginning was the Word. Before time and space was the Word. That means way before humans existed on Earth. Even before the Earth was created, there was the Word of God. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. Is there a primordial frequency of quantum energy that is God? Is God a multi-dimensional energy? This energy is beyond time and space. This energy created the universe, and the Word was made flesh. This energy creates us. This energy lies inside of us. 90% of your DNA is not junk DNA. It's quantum energy. It's God. You were made in His image. The wise man says it's up to you to solve this riddle. Can you experience God while you are alive? When I was young, I asked this question to my minister. He said no. Only when you die can you experience God. I didn't believe him. Somehow I knew the human body was built for this experience. It was hardwired. I knew that the light of God existed within. I read many of the world's greatest scriptures, and they all said, a great light exists within. If thy eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. This is not a metaphor or a theory. This is truth spoken by all the great masters. Only you can open this door with your intent. You have free choice. You can solve this riddle. Your life won't be the same. I respect all religions. They are all talking about the same thing. They have different points of view. I think that is grand. Different stories from different times and places. They all believe in one Creator. God is not a Christian. God is not a Jew. God is not a Muslim. God is not a Buddhist. God is beyond all our projections we give Him. God is quantum. We are linear. We go from point A to point B. God exists in the entire universe, beyond time and space. Love makes the universe go around. Discover your true essence. You were built and designed to discover your Creator within. You can solve this puzzle. How did the Master become the Master? Do you think the Master was born that way? The Master became the Master by a lot of work. Nobody gets a free ride. A Master makes mistakes along the way. He makes thousands of mistakes along the way. Yet, over time, he learns from his mistakes. He learns what buttons people push that are his weak links. Over time, there are no buttons to push. He will just smile and listen to you. He has nothing to prove. A Master loves to meditate, not only sitting in meditation. A Master learns to be in constant state of meditation. Walking around is fun. There is no boredom. There is a love of this journey of life. This journey is eternal. The Master knows this, and so can you.
In India, there is a saying, "Tell me who you keep company with, and I will tell you who you are." If you keep company with the mafia, you will probably be a member of the mafia. If all your friends use drugs, most likely you will too. If all your friends like rap music, you will probably like it. You are the company that you keep. Here's some good advice. Why not be a friend of your higher self? You are the sun, moon, and stars. You are never alone. Your best friend is God. He lives inside of your heart. You are one and the same. Remember, you are the company that you keep. You have free choice to make. I would consider this offer. Everything you learn in life, you must practice. A baby learns how to walk. It stumbles and falls. The baby gets frustrated. Yet in time, the baby learns to walk. It even learns how to run and leap through the air. Everything in life, you must practice. Many people come up to me and say, "I can't meditate. It's too hard. My mind is constantly chattering." To learn how to meditate takes time and effort. You learn how to walk. You can learn how to meditate. You can learn how to be a master. Remember, practice is the key. Here's the dilemma. The universe is linear, or so it seems. We can travel in a linear fashion, Earth to the moon. Everything we do is linear. We think that God is in heaven, sitting on a throne. We think that angels have wings. Yet, what if God is a multi-dimensional energy? Scientists can only see 3D. God is beyond 3D. This creation is 3D, yet the Creator is beyond 3D. Your true self exists in both 3D and beyond. This is a great mystery. This is the great dilemma. How can something that is 3D find God that is 3D and beyond? This is the true game of life. Find out who you truly are. Is life like a cosmic merry-go-round? Everything is spinning. Look at the Earth and the planets spinning around the sun. Look at the spinning galaxies. To me, it's like a cosmic merry-go-round. Everything is in sync and in motion. Nothing ever stops. It's constantly in motion. Yet at times we are oblivious to this. We are driving in our cars with our cell phones. Did you know the Mayans had a calendar where the cycle was 24,000 years? What a ride that must be. We are proud to have a calendar based upon the Earth traveling around the Sun for 1 year. How about a calendar that lasts 24,000 years? Where do they get that kind of knowledge? They didn't have any kind of modern day instruments. To be honest, I'm loving seeing that science and religion is slowly melting into each other. Both the scientist and the mystic have their own laboratories. The mystic has one within, and the scientist is external. Both of them are doing research. Both of them are gaining wisdom. The scientist may say, "What does the mystic know?" The mystic will simply smile. There is nothing to prove. The truth needs no convincing. I'm looking forward to the day where scientists are mystics. When that happens, I think that's when things really will be interesting. When man embraces peace, many incredible inventions will come out. These inventions can't come to Earth if man is still warm with each other. The mystics are discovering the field, which is quantum energy, which ties the entire universe together. A human being can connect to the field. Mystics have known this for thousands of years. Ponder this over. Discover the merry-go-round of life inside of you. The wheel of life. Is life a cosmic wheel? The wheel turns and turns for eternity. We come and go. Civilizations come and go. Universes come and go. This is the wheel of life. Nothing is constant. Everything changes. Nothing will remain the same. Someday, the earth will no longer exist. I'm not being morbid. I'm just saying the facts. Everything in the universe comes and goes. Even the universe will disappear in a blink of an eye. Yet, you are eternal. You were never created, nor will you ever be destroyed. Yes, your body will die, but you will never die. There is a part of you that is eternal. You may ask, that's incredible. If that's true, why don't I know it? because you're looking in the wrong place. You're driving in your car with your cell phone in your hand. You think that reality exists only external. You are the universe. You just don't know it. You have been looking in the wrong place. The journey exists inside of you. This is the greatest game of hide and seek. God hides inside of you, yet you are looking all over and never can find it. You have free will. You can learn how to take baby steps to discover your true nature. All the great masters have said the same thing. They may use different words. Christ said, "The kingdom of heaven lies within." This is not some metaphor. Ponder this over. You can solve this mystery. The wheel of life is turning. Discover your true nature. You are made of the same stuff as the universe. Wow. Isn't that exciting? You are stardust. You came from the universe. In fact, you are the universe. Isn't that exciting? The great masters of old talked about your great essence. We thought they were fairy tales. We thought they were just stories. Today, we send satellites out to the unknown in space. The more we learn, the more we can see our knowledge is a grain of sand. The modern day mystic goes within. The modern day scientist explores the universe. Both are leading mankind for the search of the unknown. Did you know that all matter on earth came from beyond? Just stop and think for a moment what a glorious world we live in. Signpost of God is all around us, yet we are driving in our cars with our cell phones in our hands. What do you see? In this condition, we are lucky to see even the road. I once was told that if God ever did come back, most people wouldn't be aware. Imagine heaven can be all around you, yet you are not aware and conscious of it. You see, conscious and awareness is the key to life. That's why I say the spiritual path is the most practical path. In each and every moment, you must be aware and conscious. The more you are aware and conscious, the more you have gratitude. This is an endless journey. You can never clap your hands and say, "I'm totally aware." The journey of life is eternal. You were never created. You will never die. Your body will. I find this fascinating. Just think, you are made up of the same stuff as the universe. Ponder this over.
kingdom of heaven. Many people think that the kingdom of heaven is a place. There is a pearly gate, and God has guards at the entrance. You must pass the test to get in. Yet, what if heaven is a state of mind? What if heaven has always been there, but there has been dust covering inner air? Maybe man's problems have always been looking outside of ourselves. Maybe, just maybe, we have forgotten our true nature. The hells that man create are real. Look at wars all around the world. Innocent people get killed and maimed. Millions of people are fleeing from their homelands. That must be hell. We as a world must help them. Forget our immigration policies. Do you think Christ will accept that? The U.S. seems to have a we don't care policy. Immigration was a thing of the past. Immigration must be stopped. Recently, I saw where ICE sent a man who has been here for 30 years back to his country. He leaves behind his wife and kids. The U.S. is creating a living hell for thousands of people. What happened to the love and compassion of America? Have we totally lost our ways? How can we still have a president who mocks the world? We give him the keys to our nuclear codes. To be honest, America must learn to discover the heaven within. We are all so much off the mark. Anger is the norm. Anger is the point on the thermometer of life where you know our society is sick. America has a serious disease. A disease is a point where there's no ease. Everything is in a chaotic state, just like cancer. It seems to describe our political system today. Everything is in chaos. Nobody knows what's going on. You can be fired just like the Apprentice show on TV. Just ask Rex Tillerson, and the rest. Chaos is a manifestation of our minds. If our minds are chaotic, the world around us will be chaotic. It is as simple as that. Remember, you can choose between heaven and hell. The choice is yours.
Did you know there is a field of life that ripples everywhere? It ripples faster than you can read these words. It is felt instantaneously all across the universe. How about that? We haven't even developed anything near the speed of light, yet the field transfers information instantly. Do you see how your actions affect the universe? Did you ever ponder that over? Your anger ripples across the universe. Is it worth it? Now is the time to change. Be kind. Your kindness will ripple everywhere. Your light will shine everywhere. You can be a true beacon. You have no idea how grand you are. The universe is rooting you on. You have a grand part in this play. You are the main actor. Ponder these words.